Hello. I'd like to talk to you or introduce you to a two set part series of classes that address releasing the binds that tie us. I wonder, do you ever feel stuck and no matter what you do, you can't move forward? You might do something, you feel a little sense of relief, and then you find yourself snap back to the same old pattern and the feeling of nothing will ever change. I will never find my way out. Do you feel caught in thought forms where this pattern of thinking, often critical patterns, but they can be other things? I must, I can't do this, I must do this. Just they wind around in your head and you can't find relief from them. And you just think when your brain is not connected to them and you're feeling some relief, they come right back. Do you feel like there's a secret somewhere in your life experience or what you're sensing, and you just can't get to it? There's something about it. And as you get closer, there feels like a push away. And it feels like it's affecting your life in some way. You just can't touch it. Do you feel like you've been living a particular story or pattern over and over and over again? And when it starts, you can predict where it's going to end or what it's going to look like. And then you find yourself completing that, and then it comes right back to another thing where you know where it starts. You follow it through, it ends the same way. And there doesn't seem to be a way not to live this. These can be examples of bindings, ways that you're held in place. And there's that sense they never go away, they'll always be here. But you don't know the source and you don't know why. Releasing the ties that bind us are two experiential courses that will explore a variety of energetic ties that bind us. Because there's not just one and they're kind of entangled. And so oftentimes they're hard to recognize or see. We'll learn strategies for releasing these bindings. Now, the first course focuses on the personal field, the field that's connected to my lived experience in this life, the ties that bind me that are connected to my lived experience. The second course is more about being tied to larger fields, the ancestral field, the karmic field, collective fields, and how they affect our patterns of behavior and how we are in the world, how are tied by loyalties or things that are not perceived, but you feel like you're caught in something. We'll look at those in the second class. We'll also look at spells and curses in the second class. They're more advanced. They can be in the personal field, but we're going to look at them in the second class. And soul contracts. What does that look like in terms of how we're bound by what we live at? So for this video, I'm going to concentrate a little more detail on the bindings that are in the personal field, the first course. These personal bindings, as I said earlier, are connected to our personal life experience. The course doesn't include those bindings that are feel very, very personal. I mean, they really feel personal, but their origin is connected to larger fields. So in the personal field, there are conscious bindings. Those bindings we know because we made them. So, oaths and vows are two of them, where a vow is something I vow to myself, to an organization, to another person, like marriage vows are one. Vows of celibacy in some spiritual traditions are one. Those are vows where I say, I will live my life this way. I make a commitment. And when they're done in ritual settings, they're even more powerful. And just because you don't live with someone anymore, you get a legal divorce, the vow still is in place until it's released. Oaths are like vows of loyalty to a country, to a person, to a company. I vow my allegiance. So it's interesting to see where oaths show up in your life. And if they're affecting you living fully in your life, you may need to release them. I don't make any oaths and vows anymore because I know how much they hold my field for me to live fully. Another conscious binding is thought forms. We're well aware we have a thought form because it plays over and over in your head, and it has almost like its own consciousness. And this binding has the characteristic of us believing it is true. It captures the mind in a loop, and there's the belief that this is true. It has both of those kinds of things. They're often connected to a trauma or a parent's voice, or it's, I need to do this, I can't do that. That loop of possible and impossible, double binds, we're all aware of. And it's interesting to notice what the emotions that fuel these thought forms, to notice them and follow the trail back to what is really is the source of them. And then it can be released. There's also patterns that we find ourselves in unconsciously. Kind of see the patterns that we're living out. Sometimes they're conscious, sometimes they're unconscious, and how those can be released as ways of being in the world to cope. So unbinding conscious bindings involves a process of first recognizing what the binding is, then releasing the vows and oaths, or unweaving the thought forms. Unweaving or melting, there's several ways we'll explore with thought forms. Unconscious bindings are those things that we are um, don't know are vows, like unconscious vows, but they're affecting how we live our lives, as if there is a structure or a gate that doesn't allow you to go forward. They often have the feeling of always and never. The most profound ones are when the ones that we make in early childhood. Do we say the oath out loud? It's not how little kids make a decision, but it's an intent of will that's connected to survival, being loved, or just being safe in the world. Sometimes it's loyalty to a parent. And these unconscious vows, and all of us have them, we often have hundreds of them. Once they are recognized and brought into a more ritual structure, they can be released. It's amazing how that works. And then there's secrets that are often unseen but affect how we live our life. Promises little kids make not to tell. and it affects their ability to be fully in truth as adults. And there's something traumatic often behind the secret that an adult doesn't want a child to say, or someone older than them you can't say, and have them convinced that something bad will happen to them. And often those secrets are lost in memory, but they still are in place as structures. There's also patterns. You find yourself living out over and over again, and you don't know where they came from and why are you compelled to be in the world this way and to repeat this pattern that no longer serves you as an adult, but it was a very effective strategy for survival as a kid. So we're going to look at those and begin to release their hold and binding on you. So, unbinding in the unconscious realm is first recognizing what's here, disentangling it from trauma, because 9 times out of 10 is a trauma based binding, and releasing the structure you're using to take the emotional sting out of it and the emotional push that comes with it. And then replace it with blessings. Replace it with something that offers expansion and offers a way to stand in life as an adult. And so that is basically what our class, the first one, is going to be about. And I invite you to come. There are 8 sessions, 3 hours long, and they are offered on 1 day a week. So look at the website, look at the schedule, and you'll see when the next one is going to be offered. I invite you to come and learn to release the tie that binds your life. Blessings to you.